Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Faith and Fandom Feedback Friday podcast. I hope you are all doing well. Um, Coming to you on the cusp of Valentine's Day, uh, coming into you from the aftermath of the Super Bowl and everybody's reasons to be angry about all the things. Um, and coming to you just to talk about some news. Todd, how you doing, man? I hope how was Nashville Celebrity Comic Con? Glad to got to see you and Ashley again in the same bubble. That was cool. Um, but yeah, kicking off with things. Hope y'all are all doing well. Hey Doc, good morning. Uh, but yeah, just getting going. This morning was just a weird technical morning too, just trying to get all the things to actually work the way they were supposed to work. But yeah, hope y'all are doing good. Um, oh dude, your daughter's having the baby. Congratulations. So Todd is becoming a grandfather again, which is always cool. But yeah, glad y'all are all doing good, or hope you're all doing good. We'll get started on the news and kick things off. I am not in a super rush today, but I do have a lot going on. I'm leaving uh in about 3 hours to go do a 3 day long youth conference in Greensboro, North Carolina. So I'm heading over that way. Um, Mostly packed, mostly ready. Um, there's already been some complications with the event, and I'm trying to keep my heart, attitude, mind, soul, everything in check so it doesn't affect anything or anyone negatively. But yeah, gonna do that. So uh let's jump on in for the news for the day. Currently, there is a revival outbreak going on at Southeastern University in Lakeland, Florida, which actually a school I did Shakespeare at um, back in like 99 or 2000. Anyway, uh, it started off Wednesday morning with a normal chapel service for a youth conference there. And Jeannie Allen spoke. And before the service ended, students randomly started confessing their sins and crying out, and worship broke out, and it lasted all Wednesday and kept going to the point they canceled classes on Thursday, and faculty and staff just showed up to the revival instead of going to work, um, which is a solid life choice in general. But it's going on, it is giving very much so the Jarrett, you're praying for me, praying for the youth conference. Thank you, brother. Is very much giving the same attitude and vibes as Asbury in 2023. K2PK. What's up, man? But yeah, so that is totally happening, and that's happening at Southeastern University in Florida. So, if you want to check that out, that's more going on. Todd McFarlane, creator of Spawn and basically the dude just makes action figures like Zatanna now. Um, but he's the legendary creator of Spawn. He's also done some stuff with Ninja Turtles and things like that. Um, Todd McFarlane went on to start an argument this week that comic books and art in general are 99% art and 0% story, that the story is not what's important, the art is. And so writers and artists are fighting with Todd McFarlane. But he basically said that uh he could let a kindergartner write the story as long as he did the art and it would sell well. You switched over here. I feel you, man. Um, oh, Kurt or KP2 KP. Yeah, what you just said, that's your testimony. Um, Kirk is KCP. Gotcha. Gotcha. Um, yeah, so Todd McFarlane's fighting with nerds. Not something really new there. Steak and Shake restaurants have officially announced that they will be removing all microwaves from their restaurants. Miss Lane, good morning. I'm going to see you in like a week. That's going to be great. Um, Steak and Shake is removing all microwaves from their restaurants, and they expect to be unit microwave free by April 15th, stating that quality restaurants don't need microwaves. It is part of their journey to improve food quality and use traditional methods of cooking only. And they ended it with the statement, eat real food. So I don't know that if I'm ever thinking eat real food, if Steak and Shake is the first people that popped in mind, but good on them for improving the quality of it. Uh, we're gonna chit chat about the Super Bowl here and there and stuff, or at least the halftime because the game honestly wasn't anything special. But just little things in there. Also, just stayed up. Be nice to each other in the comments. I know other people will pop in and out, but if you disagree with somebody, be nice. Um, Learned yesterday that the grass people, the people that were in the bushels of grass at the halftime show, um, Steak and Shake is okay. That's again, Dot said she's never had it. It's not life changing to me. Um, but the grass people at Rushmore says Kirk says the garlic burger is fire at Steak and Shake. I don't think I've been to Steak and Shake in at least 2, 3 years. But yeah, the grass people from the Bad Bunny halftime show got paid $1,300 each. Now, I'm assuming most people, if you just said, "Hey, you want to go be in the halftime show," would just go do it. But these people that just stood there, the ints of the halftime show, yeah, it's odd. Um, they got paid $1,300 each. I'm just saying, getting paid a whole $1,000 to just stand in some grass on a certain spot and jiggle for 15 minutes. That's a lot. You know, that's a basically $100 a minute. Um, yeah, it's pretty baller. So I thought that was neat. Um, Ashley, good morning. Um, an influencer, TikToker, social media person named Aiden Ross bought the Breaking Bad house, Walter White's former house in New Mexico, which I visited, by the way. Did not like owning it. They bought the house and they're going to recreate the entire Breaking Bad house down to the last detail to let people tour it, be part of it. Go lay down, Delilah. Go lay down. You skating in here with your tiptoes too much. Um, Good morning, Ashley and Bethany. Um, but yeah, they bought the house and they're going to recreate the entire Breaking Bad aesthetic so that people can tour it. The last time I went, they had a fence that said, "Stay away from our property. Take your pictures from across the street. Don't bother us." Because they had had so many people throw pizzas on their roof. Kelly, good morning, man. But yeah, Aiden Ross bought the house. He outbid 19 other people. Yeah. Britney Spears sold her entire musical catalog for $200 million. You can go, baby. Delilah, you can go. It's okay. You're not in trouble. Um, Britney Spears sold her entire musical catalog for $20 million, which is pretty great. Good morning, Kristen. Um, yeah. Also, I keep forgetting that Britney Spears and I are the same age. We're both 44. Um, yeah, it's kind of nuts. Oh, you're on winter break. Nice, dude. Um, Tristan, good morning. Uh, let's see. In Russia, the prices of cucumbers are now outweighing the price of gold. Good morning, Christopher. There's been an inflation on grocery pricing in Russia so much that the current per weight amount of gold is less than the amount of cucumber. Um, so Larry is now a golden god in Russia. With Bad Bunny's Super Bowl performance, Bad Bunny streams on Spotify have gone up 470% after the Super Bowl, which is not surprising. Every time there's something like that, people kind of jump in to see what things are about. Yeah, covered the revival in Florida. In Nigeria's Kwara State, and this is something that's been going on for a while. at least 162 people were massacred for rejecting radical Islam. When not only just that, they burned the homes, abducted the survivors, um, and they basically told them refuse or die. And so this is Rushmore says cucumbers are not worth gold. Yeah. This is not like a new thing. This has been going on for at least 6 months in Nigeria, and no one's really intervening with it, because it really does boil down to a religious war, a cultural war in that area, and we can't even handle being religious without being douches here. But it's something that I'm continuing to pray for, and I would encourage you to continue to pray for as well, because I feel like something needs to be done. Um, Kirk says he tried listening beforehand. Whit told me I wasn't going to get it before the show. Yeah, no. Um, it was just the vibe. It was just the cultural thing more than anything. It was Puerto Rico. That was about it. There was a picture with one of the survivors from the most recent uh, massacre in the Kwara State, and there's just a sole person holding up a chalkboard sign, holding up a Nigerian flag that just says "Stop um, Boca," which is some of the people that are doing this. So they're asking for help and getting this stopped. A Roman Catholic church in Western Germany has gotten in trouble for a special service they have scheduled later this month. This Western Germany church service, Kelly says when he was in Moscow, groceries were mad cheap. Not today, buddy. Um, this church in Eastern Germany or Western Germany, sorry, had announced a special Harry Potter themed worship service um that promises to be a magical evening for everyone. Um, and other churches are mad. Harry Potter nerds are mad. People that are mad at Harry Potter are mad. And I'm just like, that sounds fun. I'm like, that's up my alley. That's something I probably would have done. I don't know if I'd ever do a full Harry Potter church service, but it's not like I've not made memes or there's stuff in my books. But yeah, it also just seems weird that a Western Germany church is doing a Harry Potter service, but it's cool. Um, that's a whole thing. Uh, let's see. Alabama lawmakers are in the process of weighing HB 363, which is a bill that would make intentionally disrupting a worship service or blocking access to a church property a Class C felony, raising big questions about protest rights. So obviously, this is in response to what took place in Minnesota, and but yeah, Alabama is petitioning this bill that if you interrupt a church service, um, Rushmore says it sounds fun, but it probably isn't for main church vibe. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Tristan says everyone's mad and no one's happy. Um, uh, I'm happy there's new episodes of Free Rent, Tristan. That's a good thing. But you're right. There's a lot going on in our hearts that just needs to get better before we're looking at this. Um, Emmanuel Southern Baptist Church got hacked by fake companies and banks, and their account was wiped again, with no bank alerts, no key, no like warnings or text or anything else. But they drained their entire bank accounts, which had about $85,000 in it. Um, so some poor church secretary probably just clicked the wrong thing, and there you go. Um, I'm just, I'm in a teeny tiny church. Well, I'm not in a teeny tiny church. We have a few hundred people, but our budget's teeny tiny. I can't imagine having $85,000 to drain. They probably wouldn't take the time to drain our bank account. Um, in California, 4 people have died and 39 people have gotten incredibly sick by a wild mushroom that's growing rapidly in Northern California, in California during its rainy season. Y'all, stop eating fungus you find on the ground. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're supposed to be eating. Stop eating funguses, obviously. Now I know there's some people who are just going to eat a mushroom if they find a mushroom, but y'all, that's not a good life choice. So, yeah. Raising Cane's in Boston is facing Dot says she works for a bank and seen every level of wealth affected. Stay safe with your passwords. Raising Cane's in Boston is stating that they are about to get evicted because the building that they are renting from their landlord uh, smells too much like chicken. And this just cracks me up. This rental company or the people that own the property are going to kick out Raising Cane's because the chicken shack smells too much like chicken. Now, first of all, I feel like that's on you. If you rent your property to be turned into a chicken shack, you better expect it to smell like chicken. Uh, Supertones or the Grand Incredible Supertones spinoff band has this line that says, "That's your proudest lie. You're shocked when a sinner sins." Y'all, if you are surprised a chicken shack smells like chicken, you're lying to yourself. But either way, Raising Cane's at this location has spent almost $250,000 to try and lessen the chicken smell in the building. I don't know what y'all gonna do. That just sounds ludicrous. And not, you know, the Fast and Furious one. In Nepal, 13 people died and 34 people were injured after a bus carrying an entire wedding party plunged 650 feet off the side of a mountain in Nepal, which is just terrible. Um, Tristan says, smell like chicken. Uh, Christopher says, does it smell like fried chicken or raw chicken? Those are different smells. You are correct. Those are different smells, but it smells like fried chicken, and that's the problem. I'm just saying, I can't imagine. Well, I think the bigger problem, Christopher, is that it's making the surrounding facilities smell like fried chicken. It could be just that, but either way, you can't be surprised with that. Um, Canada faced one of its largest school shootings ever. Um, that left 10 killed and 25 people injured. And then on top of the shooting, there was a whole breakdown and debacle amongst the media in Canada over how the shooter was going to be addressed. Because uh, if my understanding of the situation, my research is correct, it was a uh, young man that was transitioning in the process of transitioning to a woman and did the shooting in a dress. And so some of the media referred to it as a man, some of the media referred to it as a woman, and then there was more argument and fight over the label and the pronoun situation of it than there was about the fact that there was a school shooting. And then people were upset at the media in Canada for not handling all of this better. Um, and so it's a heartbreaking situation all around. Um, and we're gonna get it's a lot. Uh, GLP one, the weight loss slash I think it's also used for diabetes, but GLP-1, like the Ozempic style drugs, um people are getting scurvy and other old time dietary diseases because their appetite is reduced so greatly that they're not getting enough vitamin C and things. So there has been an uptick on the level of scurvy cases reported among Ozempic and other GLP-1 users. Y'all, Don't get pirate diseases just because you're trying to be cute. Please and thank you. Um, Gallup, the poll that has done things all throughout my lifetime and for the last 90 years has maintained the presidential approval rating. Gallup says they quit. Um, they have ended their presidential approval ratings after nearly 90 years of documenting public opinion. Um, they just said they're not going to do it anymore. Um, yeah, so they might start it up again later, but they're done. Kelly Clarkson, and this is one of these things I announced at one time that the show was ending, and then she came back, said it's not over, but it's actually looking like it's gonna be over. But during in the month of March, during Women's History Month, the show will be guest hosted for a week by singer Pink, which I think will be a really entertaining show. I think I would watch Pink do a talk show before I would watch Kelly Clarkson do a talk show, and that's no shade towards Kelly Clarkson. Um, but that's absolutely a thing. A Ukrainian uh a Ukrainian skeleton racer was disqualified from the Winter Olympics by for an act of protest and solidarity. The Ukrainian racer, and forgive me, homie, not that you're ever going to hear this, going to butcher your name, Vladislav Herashkevchev, hey, was disqualified from the Winter Olympics after he refused to stop wearing a helmet that had pictures of athletes killed in Russia, killed in its when Russia invaded the country. So this racer, has pictures of athletes that were killed when Russia invaded Ukraine, and he was told he had to not wear that helmet. He said no, and so they have officially like kicked him out of the Winter Olympics. I mean, good for sticking your ground. In news that makes me happy slash um, there is a Baldur's Gate TV series coming to HBO. Um, and it supposedly takes place at the end of Baldur's Gate 3. So your characters that are so beloved now, like Shadowheart and Karlach and all those folks are going to get probably a way too thirsty depiction on HBO. Um, Genesis, what's up, homie? Ironic to have to stop opinions about opinions until it's easier. That's a whole conversation and situation right there, man. Um, but there's a Baldur's Gate 3 show coming. Um, it'll probably be a couple years away, but I honestly want to see what they do with Karlach because I genuinely love Karlach as a character. Um, and officially, the Mummy 4 will be hitting theaters May 19th, 2028, which is a long time from now. Not that long, but as I'm etching closer to getting old, or getting older, can't even say getting close to getting old. As I'm etching closer to getting older, these every time something's a year away, um, I'm like, I might be dead. But Brendan Fraser and Rachel White's, the whole cast of the original Mummy's back. Um, and good for them. That's happening. Um, Mike Flanagan, who is the champion of horror and suspenseful TV and movies these days, um, is that Kirk says he has very little experience with Baldur's Gate. Here's the deal. I kept seeing TikToks about a uh tiefling barbarian warrior woman, and they were funny. And I just had to go check it out. It's very much like playing Dungeons and Dragons on a uh console. You literally have to roll the dice to see if your stuff is effective. Um And if you don't explore and examine things properly, you just miss stuff. Like you can miss adding essential party members just because you didn't pay attention. It's fun. It's not my style of gameplay, but the story's wonderful. Um, Genesis says, "Will I see you animate in Raleigh?" I don't think so. Um, did that one get moved to March or April? Genesis. I think it was March, like mid-March. Um, and yeah. Uh, Dot says she plays a Riesling Paladin in her D&D campaign, or Tiefling Paladin. Nice. Um, I will be at Genesis. I know I wasn't planning to go to Animate when it was in January. I might attend it, but I'm not vending at it. Just on a con schedule question, I've got I'm today I'm leaving. It's in March. Okay. Today I'm leaving. I've got a wedding that weekend. That's why I didn't do it. Um, Ash said Ashley said she got excited thinking you meant Alder's Gate. You know what? That could be a whole Methodist spinoff thing. Um, I will be in Greensboro, North Carolina this weekend for Carolina Christian Youth Conference. Next week I will be in Charleston, South Carolina for Captain's Comics Expo. And then the only con I currently have booked for March is GalaxyCon Richmond. I am doing my best to leave everything from GalaxyCon Richmond until HeroesCon in June open because I'm trying to get my spinal surgery booked by the end of. I would like to get my spinal surgery done the week after GalaxyCon Richmond, so I have time to heal up for the summer. That's just my little wishful hope, but we'll see. It may not even happen. Um, lately. All right, jumping back in news. Uh, Mike Flanagan has teamed up with Stephen King on a few things. He recently made The Life of Chuck. He's got a TV series of the show Care of the story Carrie coming up. That's a modernization um, of Carrie. I think it's 8 episodes. But it's just been announced. Your daughter's wedding is in 3 weeks from today. Congratulations, dude. My daughter just turned 18 yesterday, so that was a whole thing. Mike Flanagan will now be directing a new version of The Mist. Um, One of the movies with the most horrific endings of all time. Mike Flanagan will be remaking The Mist. So that's coming. Uh, Genesis, I'll catch you up. I think, yeah, we've missed some stuff. Um, but yeah. Uh, I just wanted, this isn't news, but it is news. I just wanted to share y'all with this. Um, my local sheriff is hilarious. Um, and they put a very obviously uh AI generated photo, but it's got a picture of a cop car, a sunset, and some broken hearts handcuffed to roses. And here's the caption for their post from yesterday. Love is in the air, and so are warrants. You got a loved one with an outstanding warrant? Need a quiet weekend to yourself? This Valentine's Day, let us handle the pickup. We bring the car, we even provide the bracelets. Um, Literally advertising to the folks to turn their people in so they can have a quiet weekend. That's hilarious. The Peaky Blinders movie will be dropping in theaters on March 6th and on Netflix on March 20th. Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man, which is um Kirk says he's never seen The Mist. The Mist is it's a mid horror, alien, sci-fi, Cthulhu-ish movie for 99% of it, and then the ending is what makes it memorable. The ending is what makes it stand out to people. Um, but uh, Calhoun County in SSC did a similar one to pick up X's with warrants. See, there you go. Um, but yeah, Peaky Blinders is not only getting a new movie, there will also be a spin-off show and some other stuff. I'm just happy because Cillian Murphy deserves all his flowers because this man has been grinding for years and proud of him. Severance is set to begin production on its third season this summer, and it is being stated that it will run for at least four seasons. Um, uh, I watched Severance seasons one and two with my daughter over Christmas break, and honestly, Severance is kind of a masterpiece, but I don't know what they're going to do after season two. Like, I would have taken season two as an ending to the show and never come back. So I'm honestly confused as to where they'll go. But if you watch the show at all, you're confused in general. Um, yeah. Zoe Saldana, um, your wife loved Peaky Blinders, couldn't get into it. Listen, the brother, Arthur, Tommy, like, dude, he's a gangster. Well, I mean, they're all gangsters, actually. Zoe Saldana is listed among the donors on James Vanderbeek's GoFundMe page. If you're not aware, I hadn't got to this part in the news yet, so my stuff is all shuffled. James Vanderbeek passed this week at the age of 48 from cancer after a year-long battle in cancer. You will see him again in the upcoming Legally Blonde prequel series, as he had a reoccurring role in that. But the cancer treatments and everything else, and his life of having six kids recently and everything else, have left him uh his family financially destitute. Um, after all the cancer treatments and everything. And so people started a GoFundMe page just out of gratitude for Vanderbeek. Zoe Zaldana, which is Gamora, and one of the blue people, has pledged $2,500 monthly, um, to help take care of his family. So there's lots of people that have been chiming in and chipping in for it. So it's kind of interesting. It is sad, actually. Uh, AEW wrestling, um, which is known for being more extreme and more hardcore and more middle finger to the law type in most of their things, uh, blocked a um yeah, the Vanderbeek videos have been hard. But AEW apparently blocked the wrestler Brody King from appearing on AEW's Dynamite due to anti-ice chants. At one of the recent AEW events, uh, chants started in the arena with some negativity directed towards ice to the point that they waited a minute to let the people get their chants out before they actually started the match. But Warner Brothers Discovery, who owns AEW, was like, shut this down. Um, and yeah, so it's getting to the point that you see, Tristan says, you see, I have a copy of Miss Guild in the Misfit Guild. Yeah, I haven't read a single page of it yet. Because I'm this close to finishing editing Bite Size. But I am gonna start it this weekend. But yeah, I am gonna start it this weekend. And I really got to finish my Dungeons and Dragons book too. But I think once I'm done editing Bite Size, that's just going to flow. But I'm excited to read it. I also got my daughter a copy for her birthday, and I got one of my best friends a copy for her birthday. So I bought three of them. Um, New Ren Collective single is out today called "Do It All Alone," which is effectively you don't have to do it all alone. But yeah, new Ren Collective single, and I'm excited. I got tickets to Ren Collective. I want to say in Columbia, South Carolina. So if anybody's near Columbia, South Carolina, and you want to go see Ren Collective, I think I have an extra ticket. Fireflight, which was a dope Christian rock band around the 2004 to 2009 area of timelines. The lead singer of Fireflight has announced a new Christian rock group called Altira. 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 So if Christian rock was your jam, there's a new Christian rock female-led group. And the artwork that I see has three women on it, so it might be an all-women Christian rock group, but it's got the lead singer from Fireflight. Um, Yeah, you're going to Brandon Lake in Charleston. Nice, dude. Um, let's see. Uh, Gene Simmons is making trouble for himself slash not a good look this week, complaining about rap artists being inducted into the Ghetto Hall of Fame, sorry, that's his quote. He called it the Ghetto Hall of Fame when you induct rap artists into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He says, hip hop is not my music. I don't come from the ghetto. And he's mad that Grandmaster Flash is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but Iron Maiden is not. And so his statements got very culturally sensitive to borderline racist to ageist to a lot of different things. Um, so unhappy about that. Uh, but listen, Run DMC and Outkast are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Eminem's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Come on, calm yourself down. Um, but yeah, it's just also a weird time to be speaking out about those things. But it's just one of those things. Even if you have creepy old grandpa vibes, don't do it. Um, I want to say congratulations to Amanda Kiss. Is a local-ish wrestler to my area. She won the 2025 CPWA Female Wrestler of the Year. Um, she's My daughter got to see her in her first wrestling match ever at a flea market down the street. But we've been following her career. So yeah, the Dropkick Murphys and Chapel Roan have both departed from the Wasserman Music Agency. That's their agent after finding that the folks that run her talent agency and the Dropkick Murphys talent agency are in the Epstein files. Both artists have parted ways with the company since then. Um, and something that was not on my 2026 bingo card, an independent forensic team has now ruled Kurt Cobain's death a suicide. Not a suicide, have now ruled Kurt Cobain's death as homicide. Um, the researcher's name is Michelle Wilkins, who is working with a whole forensic team. Uh, uh, Kirk says, so Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is the Music Hall of Fame. It was just rock and roll. If it was just rock and roll, I get it. There's some opinion. Yeah, listen, the fact that he mentioned Grandmaster Flash, but didn't have any complaints about Dolly being in it, you know, it's a whole thing. He said that's going way back, yeah. But they've re-investigated all of the autopsy findings and the stuff from the crime scene of Kurt Cobain's death, and they have ruled that it's a homicide. And the people that originally worked on the case, who are still around, have seen the new investigative reports and said, yeah, it's still a suicide. We're not opening this back up. Um, yeah, so they're not. I don't. It's not going to change anything legally. But they're putting it out there that they know for a fact forensically it was homicide. And so whether you take that or not, that happened. Uh, you're a junior in high school. I was in high school for sure. Um, because Nirvana was all during my high school and middle school years. Um, but Free Ren season 2, episode 6 is going to be delayed um because of the Winter Olympics being broadcast in Japan. So the episode 6 that are originally scheduled for February 20th will be delayed till February 27th. Um, so if you're a free run person and you freak out when there's not a new episode next week, that's why. Um, do, do, do. Jill Zarin, who works for Blink 49 Studios, um, and was going to be part of the Golden Life, which was a reunion show for the Real Housewives of New York. Um, uh, Tristan, I knew you would care. The Jill Zarin, she's part of the Real Housewives of New York, and she was going to be on a reunion show called The Golden Life. Has officially been fired from The Golden Life for racist comments she made. Um, uh, as they're labeled, allegedly. Uh, uh, Racist comment she made about the halftime show publicly. So she got fired from her upcoming show for publicly making racist comments about the halftime show. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequence. I'm not saying you should be legally prosecuted for every stupid thing you say, but can't imagine you can say stuff and it not have a response. Um, Broadway's version of Stranger Things, The First Shadow, which is a prequel play to the Netflix series, is getting filmed to be released on Netflix. So for y'all that can't afford um, to go to Broadway, like me, you'll be able to see the Netflix Broadway release of Stranger Things: The First Shadow, which, ironically enough, immediately after filming Stranger Things, the dude who played Vecna slash Henry showed up as a surprise at the end of the Broadway play to play Vecna one more time. Uh, Haley Bieber put out a statement this week that following Jesus together with her husband is everything. Um, She stated being able to share what we share with each other to have a bond of faith and spirituality is critical for us. She told in an interview with Elle magazine, she said it's the most important part of our relationship, following Jesus together, being part of a church community together. It's everything, which that's just nice to see. So cool. Official word for Doctor Who from the head of BBC is that Russell Davies will be returning for a Christmas special to tie up the loose end he created by having Nshuti Gatwa, the 15th Doctor, regenerate into Billy Piper. Um, Kirk says freedom of speech is not a pass. It's not a pass to be stupid. Um, but there will be a Christmas special, I believe, this year. And it will at least give us something to lay over as they get their footing for what's next. But they're not done. They're not giving up on the Doctor, but they just have to figure out how it's going to happen moving forward. But after the Christmas special, we'll pivot. And even if we just see Billy as the Doctor for the Christmas special before they have somebody else jump in, Kirk Doctor Who is on the bucket list. Listen, fam, here's my breakdown for Doctor Who, just to say this. It's one of the best storytelling devices of humanity uh, in existence. Start with the 2005 stuff. They start over with the Doctor Regenerations there. Christopher Eccleston is only in it for one season. David Tennant's in it for three. Matt Smith's in it for three, and then Peter Capaldi's in it for three as well. Um, in that order. Then you get Jodie for two and a half, maybe, and Ncuti for one, or no, two. It's good storytelling. One of my kids is named after a Doctor Who character. I feel like there's more pliable aspects of the gospel and how we love and live as humanity in Doctor Who than almost any other fiction. Um, so I highly recommend it if you get to it. Um, Now, I'll say this, the first time somebody told me to watch Doctor Who, it was so bad in the first episode that I quit and didn't touch it again for months, like 6 to 8 months. The first episode, the show had been canceled for 18 years. They didn't know what they were doing. The budget was hot dog water. And there came a scene in the first one where a dude gets eaten by a trash can, and it looked so bad for 2005 standards that I was like, I'm done. Now, I gave it some grace and I went back and it was totally worth it, but give it a grain of salt when you start early. I'll say that by season three, it's on a roll. I personally believe season six and season nine are the best seasons. Um, yeah, I feel you. Um, the mannequin episode was awful. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Um, in Iran, um, Nobel Peace Prize laureate Mohammadi has been sentenced to serve 7 more years in prison after she began a hunger strike. Um, that she's incited riots and things like this. Uh, Electricology says that you wish Lost didn't squirrel off. Listen, Lost had a funky ending. I don't know that it stuck the landing, but I'm glad it existed. Uh, uh, there was a stunning amount of pro AI Super Bowl ads, basically trying to tell everybody to be cool with AI and don't be alarmed, which is exactly what the Terminators want you to think. Um, got that. Uh, Oda, the or Ichiro Oda, the guy who creates One Piece, has officially become the highest selling author in history with just one single published series. Um, so out of ranking one series, he's the highest published author for one thing. He also currently ranks number seven all time when placed against authors with multiple series. Um, so that's pretty cool. Um, Listen, I enjoyed Lost and it was totally worth watching. There was just the ending wasn't very clear. Um, Tristan says that he lost Doctor Who after Matt Smith. I feel you, but here's what I'm gonna say. I love Capaldi and Capaldi is my doctor. Um, because I feel like I connect with his brokenness. I David was cool, Matt was fun, Capaldi was broken. And I resonated with Capaldi more than any. And Capaldi had some really great River song reactions. Yes, it is too pinky in the brain. Um, I feel like Jodie suffered not because she was the first female doctor. I feel like Jodie suffered from bad writing. Um, and like because Chris Chernbol writes mystery, not Doctor Who. And I feel like Disney execs got had too much say in shooties and it just kind of ran all over the place. Um yeah. Team USA won gold for figure skating. Congratulations to that. Mana Church in Fayetteville was recognized. Fayetteville is an area near me. After jumping to help firefighters this past week, a storage facility caught fire and took all day to put the fire out. Uh, and Mana didn't jump in to actually fight the fire, but they made sure that the firefighters were fed, hydrated, and rested, and took turns and had places to sit and all these things. So Mana Church got some love from the firefighters folks for being on top of that. The wedding during the Bad Bunny halftime show was a real wedding. The couple had previously invited Bad Bunny to their wedding, and in turn, he invited them to come get married at the Super Bowl instead, which is just kind of a gangster move. Um, as Tristan mentioned earlier in the comments, there's a new book out called The Misfit Guild. Uh, this is by my homie Arlene Curtis is her pen name. Um, she has written previous stuff with me. If you've read uh the Balance, or That's What She Said, kind of devotionals about women in the Bible. She wrote that under her government name, but this is her pen name, Arlen Curtis. And this is a romanticy book, and it has roughly about 700 pages. Um, but don't be intimidated by the 700 pages because she is generous with spacing. Um, she's got way more spacing in her books than I have in mine. So it's not as scary as it sounds. But there's a podcast interview with me and her for Love Thy Nerd. If you want to check that out, where she goes into it, but she said that she wrote and part of writing this book, she wrote this fantasy book to help people heal and be encouraged if they have struggled or been affected by toxic religious cultures, religious oppression, or oppressive purity culture growing up, because the 90s was a hard time sometimes. But she said that this is a book that's going to help people just kind of be encouraged, but also have a good adventure and some low spice romance, as she stated. But um, wanted to give her a shout out with that. Um, so yeah. Tristan says, I wanted Matt Smith reminds me of Tom Baker, which is yeah, and I feel that. Matt is definitely the most fun, and he's what made me love the Doctor. Um, I just was at a pretty broken place in my life when Peter Capaldi came along, and it just clicked real well. Um, this past week on 2/6 day, J. Cole released his new album, The Drop Off, which I've never heard a J. Cole album, and I don't know that I've ever listened to a whole J. Cole song on purpose. But J. Cole is a rapper from Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is, my area. And because he's from Fayetteville, he dropped this album on 2/6, which is ironically, not ironically, it's totally on purpose, which is the county code, which I didn't remember was a thing for Fayetteville and Cumberland County. So he dropped this album on 2/6 because there's a song on the album called 2/6, which is about Fayetteville. So he gave a lot of love to his hometown. There were multiple listening parties for J. Cole and his new album uh, in Fayetteville. And at about 10:30 Friday night, J. Cole showed up to all the parties. I had just finished doing a poetry event and walked outside, and there's a mob of people outside um, clamoring around the fact that J. Cole's just walking down the street and popping into all the listening parties to say he's appreciative. So that was cool. Um, then like I could see people, but I didn't, run up because honestly, I'm not a hater, but I don't know anything about his music, really. So I wasn't trying to get in the way of people that did. Delilah, stop licking your paw. Um, but to honor and commemorate his roots, the next day on February 7th, J. Cole loaded his trunk of his restored Honda Civic that he grew up with and drove around college campuses and communities in Fayetteville or in North Carolina, selling copies of his new CD out of his trunk. So he said one of the first places he ever sold music was at A&T. So he went to A&T and sold music. He went to Charlotte. He went to Greensboro and all these other areas as a little trunk tour to sell his music, which is just a neat idea. Another loss that we had this past week was the loss of Three Doors Down singer Brad Arnold. Um, and y'all, I'm not trying to be crazy pessimistic or negative, but we lost Vanderbeek at 48, Arnold at 47. Um, y'all, I'm about to turn 45. Time be ticking. But Brad Arnold passed away, but especially during his last year, Arnold was incredibly vocal with the gospel, and promoting the gospel at Three Doors Down shows and sharing his faith. Um, and he went out really strong. Um, I just genuinely wish uh Kryptonite wasn't in the key that it's in because it's really hard for me to play on guitar. But I'm grateful for that. But also, it made me realize if he was just 47 this year, how young were they when they dropped Kryptonite? Because that was a banger, and they were barely in their 20s. Um, so yeah. D. Snyder from Twisted Sister has officially retired and ended canceled the tour that they were on. But he's retired from Twisted Sister for the first time in 50 years. His health is just not doing great. Uh, on February 6th, Taylor Swift released a video for Opiate, which became the most streamed music video in a single day in Spotify history. Um, now that Spotify is doing music videos. Uh, but this Opiate also featured Killian Murphy, Peter Capaldi, and several other people that were on the Graham Norton show with Taylor the one time she was on there. So yeah. Uh, hmm. Now don't think I shared this. I think that Kirk says he watched Three Doors Down when they were nobody and they started in 96 when they were seniors. That's crazy. So they're maybe 3 years older than me. Okay. I think it happened right after the podcast last week, but there was a whole debacle and negative scenario where President Trump shared a video that depicted the Obamas as apes. And initially, the video was defended, and then the video was blamed on a staffer and it was taken down. But yeah, that's just that happened, and it's crazy that it happened. Little John's son, DJ, young Slade, was found dead at the age of 27. Last week, I reported it here last week that he was missing. He was later found over the weekend. Um, uh, because of artists dropping out, the South Carolina chunk of the Rock the Country Music Festival is no longer happening. Creed backed out of the show. Shine Down backed out of the show, and then they just canceled the South Carolina version. Um, Year 47 is kind of, listen, I'm telling you, dude. Um, once whole branches of my body stop working, I'm like, oh yeah, this could be it. Um, hey, let's teach us the number of our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom, homie. Felicia Rashad, the original Claire Huxtable, or the only Claire Huxtable, is coming to Fayetteville, North Carolina to speak at a event for Habitat for Humanity, called Home is Where the Heart Is. And it will benefit Habitat for Humanity. Tickets are $125 and are selling fast. It's at Botanical Gardens. Um, and last bit of news, and this is barely news. Um, couple, not this past Monday, but the Monday before, CM Punk and Roman Reigns had a little uh promo that they cut on Monday Night Raw. And in the promo, Roman Reigns referenced their Disney characters. If you saw Zootopia 2, Roman Reigns and CM Punk portray the Zebros. And on Monday Night Raw, as they were challenging each other to a fight, Roman Reigns said, "We ain't no effing Zebros." Um, and to which Disney said, "You can't do that. You can't be cussing about your Disney roles on live TV." And since then, that segment has been edited out of the Netflix broadcast for that. But then the next week, they used that segment as part of the promo from the last week, which now they have to edit the promo out. Either way, Zebros. It's a whole thing. So that's our news for the week. Let's jump into our Bible reading. I'll move Zatanna a little bit and get some dice out. But yeah, if y'all were on that, I am leaving at about 11 o'clock to go do an event in Greensboro. If y'all want to be praying for me for that. Here's some ASMR of some dice falling. Only one hit the ground. That's not bad. All right. So we're gonna do our rock, paper, scissors dice. See what we're reading. Uh, rock is Old Testament. Scissors is New Testament. And paper is the whole Bible. So let's see what we're reading. Whole Bible. Okay. So that means we need 3d20 and a d10. You subtract a number for every dice over or that goes past one. So 3d20 and a d10. And then we will subtract 3 from it so that we can start off with Genesis if we just roll that. So 3d20 and a d10. Let's see what we roll. All right, we got a 7. We got a 13. We got a 10. And we got another 10. So that is 20, 40. We rolled a 40. We're going to subtract 3. It says 37. So we are officially in the Old Testament. Um, so let's see what the 37th book of the Old Testament is. Some dice and coins out of the way. All right, we're just going to start at 39 and count backwards. Malachi is 39, Zechariah is 38, Haggai is 37. So we're going to be in Haggai. What's up, Simpsons? 12, 11. All right. Haggai has 2 chapters, if I'm reading this correctly. So we are going to flip a coin for this. And in flipping, we're going to use my Count of Monte Cristo graphic novel coin as a coin flip. So we'll do the pen quill as 1 and the Monte Cristo as 2. So we are reading Haggai chapter 2, which is the promised glory of the new house. So I'm gonna do my little marky mark up in here. Haggai, Haggai. Oh, snap. We've already done this one. So you know what? We're just gonna do chapter 1 since that's the only other chapter, and we've already done chapter 2. So Haggai chapter 1. I feel that's fair. All right. A call to build the house of the Lord. So let's get in our Faith and Fandom devotional journal. Do, do, do. Handy dandy notebook. All right, so it is 2:13. Book is Haggai, chapter 1. All right, let's see what's up. Oh, just set a pink pen. There it is. In the second year of King Darius, on the first day of the 6th month, the word of the Lord came through the prophet Haggai to Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, governor of Judah, and Joshua, son of Jozadak, the high priest. This is what the Lord Almighty says. These people say, the time has not yet come to rebuild the Lord's house. Then the word of the Lord came through the prophet Haggai. It says, is it time for is it a time for you yourselves to be living in your paneled houses while this house remains ruined? Now this is what the Lord Almighty says. Give careful thought to your ways. You have planted much, but have harvested little. You eat, but never have enough. You drink, but will never have your fill. You put on your clothes, but are not warm. You earn wages, but only to put them in purses with holes in it. This is what the Lord Almighty says. Give careful thought to your ways. Go up on into the mountains, bring down timber, and build my house, so that I may take pleasure in it and be honored, says the Lord. You expected much, but see, it turned about to be little. What you brought home, I blew away. That's a whole phrase right there. What you brought home, I blew away. Why? Declares the Lord Almighty. Because my house, which remains a ruin, while each of you is busy with your own house. Therefore, because of you, the heavens have withdrew their dew, and the earth its crops. I called for a drought on the fields and the mountains of the grain, the new wine, the olive oil, and everything else on the ground that produces, on people and the livestock, and on the labor of your hands. Then Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, Joshua, son of Jozadak, the high priest, and the whole remnant of the people obeyed the voice of the Lord, their God, and the messages of the prophet Haggai, because of the Lord their God had sent him, and the people feared the Lord. And Haggai, the son of the messenger, gave this message of the Lord to the people: I am with you, declares the Lord. So the Lord stirred up the spirit of Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, governor of Judah, and the spirit of son of Joshua, son of Jozadak, the high priest, and the spirit of the remnant of the people. They came and began to work on the house of the Lord Almighty their God on the 24th day of the 6th month. All right. So it's that called rebuild that we see kind of similar in Nehemiah. But so main passage focus, rebuilding the house of the Lord. Who wrote it? Haggai. Who was it written to? Jerusalem? Why was it written? Prophetic message. When was it written? I don't know. Let's find out. Wow. Haggai is written in 520 BCE. 520 BCE. Passage location, Jerusalem. Symbolism present, the discussion of houses with people's houses versus God's house. Also, that what we have is never enough. All right, verses that stood out. I'd say verse 9 stood out a lot. What you brought home, I blew away. I think that's pretty stark reminder. But I would also say verse 13 that even in the midst of the rebuke, he said, I am with you. And I am encouraged by that. What can I learn from this? Perspective on what I pour myself into, and if I'm treating God as a priority or an afterthought. How can I apply this? Give generously, be considerate when it comes to the church as a whole, be faithful. Is anything hard to understand? I think, well, it's my answer every week, just the names. Pop culture parallel that reflects this passage. Um, Talking rebuilding. Um, you know what? Uh, the end of Serenity. I was in two lanes. I was either thinking about rebuilding the Wayne Manor after Batman Begins, but I think rebuilding Serenity. Um, there's a line at the end of Serenity, um, where Mal asks Zoe if if she'll hold, and after it's been rebuilt, and she's gives that thing of like she's seen some stuff, but she'll hold. Where Zoe was talking about herself, Mal was talking about the ship, and Nathan Fillion went on to say that he didn't realize when he was asking the question that it was supposed to be asking it passively about Zoe until after it was out, and then it dawned on him. Um, yeah. Memeable verse from this passage. I don't know that I've got a memeable verse. I'll think about it. What song would be the best soundtrack? I'm somewhere between 10,000 Reasons with KB to Build Your Kingdom Here with Ren Collective. Somewhere in there. So that's our roll for initiative Bible reading for the day. We've covered like 75 or 65 news stories. I think that's about it for it. I'm going to start getting ready for this event I've got in Greensboro later today. Before we go, I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters for all that you do and the ways that you make stuff possible. Um, it's tiny. Why are you tiny? There we go. There we go. Okay, Jess Luttrell from Cosplay for Christ, Jackie Kraft, Rebecca sorry, Jackie Kraft, Kelly Townsend, Alan Wallace, Fab Quack, Rivka and uh Rivka and Tristan Birch, um Dorothy Martin Winston, Michelle Stewart, Miss Lynn Turner. I'll see you next week. David Brooks, Jeff Weimer, Colin Sproles, Jamie Montgomery, the Coleman family. Coleman family, I'll have some new stickers for you next week. Electricology, I won't be at church on Sunday. Um I will still be at this youth conference in Greensboro. So I'm actually gone the next two Sundays. What's up, Billy? Good morning. Um Coleman family, Jonathan Herman, Ron Petite, Gear Saber cosplay, uh my brain is so dysfunctional today. Scott Ward, Alicia Glenn. I've been praying for y'all's family. I know y'all been through some stuff lately, health wise. Jay Sheed, Jason Crutchfield, Mike Perna, um, Todd Turner, Zach Harris, Caleb Graham, Jeanette Skaggs, Jason Bullock, Christina Ray, Sarah Lewis, Patrick Gale, Rebecca Godlove, and Adam Davis. Billy, no, I just watched the Bad Bunny one. Um, Thank you all for taking your time to be supportive, for encouraging, for donating and investing in all that we get to do. I appreciate y'all more than you can really understand. Um, Not that you are incompetent, just like I appreciate y'all a lot. Um, Thank you for taking time to listen. And where's my little card? Bam. Uh, Dear friend, I pray, dear friend, I pray that you may enjoy good health and that all may go well with you, even as your soul is getting well along well. Uh, 3 John verse 2. Uh, thank y'all for taking time to listen and be the encouragement you are, and I hope to see you all at a con real soon. Bye, y'all.